Welcome. We back here in Baton Rouge.
Like we never left.
Man. Second home. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jeremiah Gray, a.k.a. G Sportz.
Got Jacob Verdin right here from the Verdin Verdict.
And we got a real special guest, long-time friend, offensive coordinator for LSU, Joe Sloan. Appreciate you taking the time to fellowship with us, bro, and kind of talk about your path. We're going to call this The Path with Joe Sloan and kind of go back in your journey, man, and give people an insight of who you are, not just as a football coach, but as a person.
Awesome. No, I look forward to it, and I appreciate y'all having me on.
Definitely. Joe, man, we always like to start our podcast off, man, talking about your journey. Take us back to, you grew up in North Carolina, right?
Virginia. So I grew up in Virginia.
Richmond?
In Richmond, just south of Richmond. I went to East Carolina, played for Skip Holtz there for 5 years. My dad had gone to school there, grew up a long-time fan, was there for 5 years. It was awesome. We had a blast, won a lot of games, and kind of right there at the end of school, wanted to kind of decide, was I going to get into coaching? I knew I wanted to get into coaching, whether or not I was going to work in some business things back in Richmond area and coach on the side, or if I was going to get into college coaching. And kind of just some of the coaches that I had there, some of the things that were going on, I think pulled me and said, hey, I'm gonna do this. He ended up taking me to South Florida with him. Actually, I stayed on for 6 months with Ruffin McNeil. Okay. And then he took me to South Florida with him, and we ended up going to Louisiana Tech. I got promoted and then was there for 9 years, you know, and that really kind of shaped, in my opinion, who I was as a coach. I got to see some good things, some bad things. Coach Holtz actually got fired at South Florida. Right. And that's how we got to Louisiana Tech. So I got to see kind of the underbelly of the business early. And then we were there for 9 years, man. We had some unbelievable players, and really Louisiana kind of embraced me. I feel like that kind of took me in, and now I've been here. This is 13 years, so it's been a long time. And kind of through my path there, had different opportunities to go some different places, but felt like I was growing, felt like I was getting better, and I enjoyed where I was. So kind of went from receiver coach, ended up being the assistant head coach, doing a lot of different things, co-OC, then to OC, and got back to quarterbacks, which was great, and then had the fortunate opportunity, when Coach Kelly got this job, it fit, and we had some conversations and had the opportunity to come down here and coach quarterbacks, and it's been a dream come true. It's been fantastic.
I just remember meeting you for the first time at St. James spring practice. I think that was 2014 or 2015. Right. So, just ever since I known you, man, you just been a hard worker, very persistent in what you do, very passionate about what you do. But I want to go back to when you played at East Carolina and you was a walk-on quarterback, a scout team quarterback. Yep. You didn't get all the glitz and the glamour when you played college ball. What did that experience do for you as a person, and how you took being a hard worker and not probably being at the top of the totem pole, but getting to where you at now, which is one of the best jobs in the country, and that's the offensive coordinator at LSU?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. One, I think you have to have a find-a-way mentality, right? Like, you're going to find a way to make an impact, right? And everybody has an opportunity to make an impact. And I think I was fortunate enough. I grew up in a fabulous family, unbelievable home life where my parents instilled those values in us. And we wanted to find a way to I felt like both my parents had a huge impact on our community where I grew up, and had an impact in the things that they were doing. And I kind of developed that mindset and that they instilled in me, and I think that carried over into finding a way to kind of have a role on the team at East Carolina. Right. And embracing that role and understanding that everybody's role is a little bit different within an organization, but you got to be all in on that role, and that's how you grow. And then I think it kind of taught me that piece about college football, that there's so many different things that have to occur within the organization for us to be successful. And there's so many things you can learn along the way. We kind of live in this little little bubble where so much happens so fast, right? Very result oriented, right? But you got to be process oriented to get the results you need. So there's just so many things happening, and I think it was just an unbelievable experience for me to really learn those couple lessons that I've kind of carried with me from wherever I've gone in this profession, which I think has been something that I don't know that I would change anything when it comes to that, because I think those values and some of those lessons that I learned have been huge for me.
For sure.
I want to ask you this question about making the transition from player to coach. Are there some things that make it easier? Obviously, the schematic understanding, your previous knowledge, or is it kind of hard to break the habits to make that switch?
Yeah, so I think, one, obviously, sitting in a quarterback room as a player, because the quarterbacks are so involved with everything that happens with all 22 players, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, you got to know everything that's going on. So I think learning there and having the opportunity to learn football and learn from some great guys. I mean, Skip Holtz has been extremely successful. Todd Fitch, who I had the opportunity, he was here with us last year. Just a fantastic coach, really good teacher. So to learn offensive football and football in general in the quarterback room, I think is huge. Probably what you don't start to realize until most of the time in football buildings, downstairs is the locker room and the players area. Second floor is the coach's area. Until you come upstairs, you don't always know exactly what goes on all the time, and how much planning and detail goes into making sure that those, we teach the guys the in the best way possible, or we prepare them for practice in the best way possible. And I think that was the transition. But because I was in the quarterback room, and I started coming up there a little bit as a player my last 2 years and hanging around up in the coach's office, and Skip let me do that, I think that opened my eyes to it. But that's the biggest transition to me for players to coaches. Sometimes they don't realize, when you make that transition, what type of time commitment that takes, especially as a young coach, because you're the one that's got to be inputting all the data, doing all the little things, all the grunt work, and it just takes time, right? There's no replacement for it. But I think that's the transition. I enjoyed it because I knew I wanted to coach, and I kind of carried myself that way, even as a player, because I wasn't going to be the starting quarterback. I wasn't going to be that guy, so I started to carry myself that way. So I think my transition was probably a little bit different than some others who maybe go from being like a star player to being a coach. But I think it's definitely a unique situation, but I think it prepared me. Sitting in that locker room, it prepares you. You understand how players are taking what coaches are saying, and how communication is so important.
Perspective.
Because, and having that perspective, right? Because communication is critical, and the ability to communicate to players so that they understand why we're doing what we're doing as coaches. Because anything that's not communicated, and I've had some conversations about different guys who he mentors over the years. They let their mind wander. Players let their mind wander.
For sure.
Right?
Especially this generation.
Well, and the social media generation, right? Because, and so I think that communication to the players, and I think that's the perspective of understanding what it's like in the locker room that I think is so invaluable, that's helped me in my career.
For sure. I think when we're going through life, it's always a turning point that kind of molds us as a person, right? I want to go back to 2007 when you were 21 years old and your dad got diagnosed with lung cancer. Yeah. And you started kind of running his business, construction business for him, and then a year later he died in 2008, man. Talk about what you learned from that experience, man, how that molded you into your career as a football coach, but as a family man, you got 2 daughters, you're married. Just tell me about that experience.
No, I think life happens, right? And you go through life, and something big is going to happen in your life at different times that's going to impact you. And obviously, losing my dad at a young age, society doesn't prepare you to lose a parent at 21 years old. It's not a normal thing, right?
Not
so,
at all.
it happens so quick. and he and I were tight. I mean, that was my guy. And so, going through that, and he had been a really successful businessman, and watching some of the things that had to go on, and some of the different adversities we went through in that time, and that I tried to help with. I think it gives you a really good perspective of that. Everything, life is fragile, and life can come at you fast, and we're not promised tomorrow. Yep. So just be all in, right? Be all in what you do. And I going through those adversities and those challenges, but yet also having the perspective that, this can all be gone so quick.
Not taking things for granted.
And I think those two lessons really stuck with me, and I think shaped who I became as a young adult, and into who I am as a coach, who I am as a father, as a husband. That take advantage of every day, and live it to the fullest. Because when you go through those hard times, it really gives you that perspective on how fast things can change.
I never told you this before, but my dad died from lung cancer when I was 21.
Oh, wow.
And he had a janitorial service business. Mm-hmm. And I started trying to keep things together while I was in college at Southeastern when he got diagnosed with cancer. So I thought that I know I never shared that with you, but it's crazy how you never know how people might have went through the same things in their journey. And so I just thought that was really ironic. Same age, same type of cancer. Yep. Your dad had a construction business. My dad had a janitorial service. Yeah. And we both had to kind of keep things afloat when he was going through that time. And it happened fast. My dad got diagnosed with cancer in August. Mm-hmm. He died in November. Wow. It was quick. Wow. It was quick. And I was in college, 21 years old. That was hard for me to process. So
it all happens quick, but you realize, and this is what I share sometimes when life happens to players or young coaches or whatever, is life, the world continues to move.
Yep. It ain't stopping.
And I think that's probably because he was involved in business, and because there were some things we were having to do at the time as a family, just like what you're talking about. You realize, even though everybody is feeling for you and mourning for you and there for you, the world's still moving. Yeah. Right.
And you still got to deal with it.
You got to go. Yeah. You got to go. Right. You got to go. And I think being able to allow yourself to have those feelings, but yet also you gotta pick up the pieces and you gotta roll. And because our guys deal with different things, right? And I think that gives me that perspective, and sometimes the ability to say, hey, I know it's hard, but you got to allow yourself to be upset, but you also we got to continue to live, right? Live our lives.
And your dad would have wanted it.
That's correct. Oh, listen, my dad would have. He'd have thought this is the greatest thing in the world right now.
I'm interested in how, in both of y'all's instances, really both successful, real driven, but how do you still lock in during a time of grieving like that, but also in turn a lot of emotions to process, and then be able to healthily heal from something like that? How do you balance those two walks of life?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is, I think, when bad, and when you're around, just like anybody, right? But when you're around a team of 100 players, I've been in coaching now for whatever, almost 18 years, I think, something like.
Damn, Joe.
16 years. Yeah, I know. 17 years. How about that? 17 years, I think. This will be my 17th year.
God.
So.
You don't look it, though. You don't look it.
Well, I try to give my good looks. But for 17 years, you're around 100 players, 100 to 120 players, and you have anywhere from 30 to up here 60 staff, different staff members. That's a lot of people, and they all have things going on. So I've seen other people go through similar things that I went through, at that age. And I think two things, in my opinion, that help me. You have to allow yourself to grieve.
Yep.
But you also have to be able to compartmentalize and say there are still some things I need to get done, right? But you got to do both, because I think where I've seen young guys make mistakes is, one, they almost put themselves into like a hole, in their room,
and it's easy to do that too.
That's it, right? And they don't talk to anybody, and they don't want, right? Or I've seen guys dismiss it, like nothing happened, and now I'm just gonna focus day to day and all. And I don't think you can do either, right? You got to try to compartmentalize and do both, and I think you got to lean on the people around you, and be open. I think that is one thing. This younger generation, probably every year, guys get more
unfocused.
Yeah, but they're more willing to talk. They're more willing to tell you what they're feeling, right?
It's cool to communicate.
That's right. And that's what you want them to try to know. And that's, it's hard. It's hard because everything happens quick, and guys feel like the weight of the world's coming down on them sometimes.
Yeah, I know. For me, when I was dealing with that, I always talk about having a good support system, and I had a phenomenal support system still to this day. When I dealt with it, so I would tell anybody that's growing up, if you're 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, and I'm not just talking about like mom, dad, uncle. I'm talking about like friends,
whoever, right.
Friends, dads, friends, moms, whatever, neighbors in the neighborhood. Having that discernment to know who has your best interest, and having that support from them, that's what helped you get through tough times. I know that's what helped me with my dad. Like, I had coaches that coached me in high school that was checking up on me and having real conversations with me about kind of like what you were saying. Like, man, your dad would have wanted you to keep going to college and trying to be successful and accomplish all your endeavors that you're trying to go do in life and stuff like that. And that helped me mentally, because at 21, man, you don't understand how life really gonna go, and you don't get it. And so I think having a good support system definitely helps you with when you're dealing with tough times, especially like losing somebody like your dad.
Yeah, no, it's but it's helped prepare me to help others. You know what I mean? And
because you can relate.
You try to relate back to what you were thinking, and you know what? Not everybody's. I think this has probably been the key for me. It's like, not everybody's going to deal with it
the way you did,
the same way I did, right? I got two brothers. We all dealt with it differently during that time. You know what I mean? And grieved differently. And I think having that ability to understand that but talking communicating usually solves most problems.
For sure.
Communication's key. I want to ask about your mindset shift going from a positional coach having to talk to a room, now being a coordinator having to talk to the whole side of the ball. Like, do things change, or is it kind of more the same, or how do you regroup to focus on stuff like that?
No, well, I think it's definitely different. I mean, because when you're a position coach, and I've done both multiple times now. So when you're a position coach, you want your position to be the best that they possibly can be to help the team. And then you want to assist the coordinator and assist the head coach in whatever they're asking you to do, right? Or maybe assisting them in their role, right, in some kind of way. And I think those are your two focuses. When you're coordinating, a lot of it is, one, is helping set the mindset for the unit, right? Not just for your room, right? You're trying to help. And sometimes, when I was coaching receivers, our mindset was different than when I was coaching quarterbacks, right?
Gotcha.
And so you kind of mold it based on, that unit and what that unit needs to be about. But I think as an overall offensive unit, right, there's some core principles, and a lot of times they should fall within the framework of your organization, right? Like Coach Kelly sets the vision here, right? And he sets the vision and what our core principles are and what we're about. So we stay within the framework of that, but I think definitely it's a lot more about the overall unit's mindset, and then it's a lot about scheduling out and the entire offensive staff knowing what we need to do every day.
Having a plan.
Right, so that they can be successful, right? I'm trying to assist them and allowing them to be successful in coaching their positions. So having a plan so they know when they come in, this is what we need to get done. This is what we're trying to focus on. So I think there's a lot more of that. That's the piece that as a position coach, you're preparing for your room that day, you know, and to teach, but you're not necessarily preparing for a staff of peers, right? And that's the big difference, right? And that's the piece, right? Same. Then there's another step to being a head coach, right? But you're trying to make sure that the peers around you can be successful in what they're doing, and that's the different approach. So that's completely different from being a position coach.
And you hear people talk about the differences in like, you know, coaching in the SEC, coaching in the CUSA, whatever the case may be. How much bigger is that jump? Like, is it what it's cracked up to be recruiting-wise, schematic-wise, or, I mean, do you think you get the gist of it once you walk around the block a couple times?
Well, I mean, I think the SEC is the most challenging conference in America.
Oh, no.
Just because of the depth of the league, right? And every week when you play, you have to play your best, right? I mean, and that's not, you know, that's just this conference,
yep.
Right?
Any given Saturday.
That is what it is, man. Right? So one, in preparing your players to play their best, right? And in preparing, right, schematically going in and knowing you have a way to attack the defense, right? And everybody being on the same page and everybody be ready to go out there and execute it at an extremely high level. You know, and I think that's the football piece. Like Saturdays in the season, I mean, well, when you look, a lot of times, right, this game's still about players, right? Mm-hmm. So when you look at recruiting rankings, right, or people do a bunch of different, you know, stats and all that, and even some of the teams that are at the bottom of the SEC are still in the top 30, top 40 in the country.
For sure.
Well, that's a lot of good players you're playing against.
Yep.
So there's just not many weak links, right, where you can say, hey, we're going to pick on this guy, or we don't have to worry about this defensive line. You know, everybody's good, right, and everybody can expose you if you're not playing your best. So I think that's the challenge of this league. You know, and then the second piece in recruiting, you're recruiting the best players in the country. And yes, like the LSU brand, this is the best school in America. This is the best place to play football in America. Mm-hmm. But there's other really good places too that for the level of talent that we're recruiting, other good places are recruiting those guys too. Yep. So I think the competitiveness day in and day out in recruiting and making sure that you're building the relationships, making sure that you're talking to them and selling what LSU has to offer in terms of the development within this program, what Coach Kelly's doing, right, how we're building this on a day-to-day basis, what you can expect, and then the greatness of what LSU is in general, right, and being able to consistently convey that message in the right way, right, because you know you're competing against other guys,
yep.
Right, at another school,
yep.
Right, who has a lot to offer as well.
Yep.
And you got to make sure that they realize what's best about LSU. So I think the competitiveness of it in recruiting and on Saturdays is definitely makes it a challenging, right, but rewarding, right, job and place to work. That's what makes it the best.
I got to ask, in your mind, you said LSU's the best place to play football. I'm going to agree. I didn't play football. I'm just watching it. But is it the environment, the tradition, the culture? Like, what do you think makes it that number one spot?
I think it's all of it, right? I think Louisiana in general as a state, right? I think, and I can say this, I've been here for 14 years now. My wife's from here. My two girls are from here, right? Like,
you from Louisiana, bro?
Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's in your blood. If I cut you open, you got some gumbo coming off.
Crawfish here and there.
I love it here, right? Like I do. I think Louisiana in and of itself is a unique state, right? Like there's a unique culture here. And this is what I always tell people when I'm talking about the state. Louisiana is able to have a very unique culture, and they've been able to keep that over a long period of time. And a lot of it is because a lot of the people stay, yep. Right? it's not very transient. You know what I mean? You don't have a ton of different move-ins, right? Like a Dallas or something like that, right? And so a lot of people have been here for a long period of time and been able to keep the culture alive. But the other piece that makes it unique is they embrace people from the outside, right? And welcome people who are here, move in, whatever that might be. And I think that's what makes it unique.
Like yourself.
It did. You know what I mean? I know they've embraced and welcomed me, right? And I think that's what makes the state unique. And I think everybody around the country looks and says, hey, that's a place I want to know something about. I'm a little curious about that, right? So I think the state in and of itself is where it starts. Because of that, there's a deep passion and pride. In everybody's together in it. Like they're all in, right? When you commit to something in your life, right? You're all in, and you're willing to make yourself vulnerable to success or failure, right? And I feel like the state is passionate and prideful about LSU to where they're all in with us, right? With the football program at all times, and it's theirs, right? Like it's their football program, and they treat it accordingly. And I think that's what makes it special. So everywhere that you go, you get that fulfillment, you get that connection with the community, and that's what I tell our recruits and our players feel it. You're going to be connected with the school, you're going to be connected with the Baton Rouge community, and you're going to be connected with the Louisiana community, and that's something that you can't replicate. Like you're not going to be able to replicate that anywhere else.
For sure.
And I think that's what makes this place special, is that it's statewide, and I think it makes it just a little bit different than anywhere else. And then on top of it, right, there's a commitment here from the leadership at the school to where they're going to put the resources forward to be successful in football, right? And they understand the when we're successful in football that the community is successful and the school is successful, right? and it's not just one, it's not just one entity. It's the entire program. It's the entire school. It's the entire state. So I think that. Plus, then you look at the recruiting footprint, right, and the players and the talent within this area. So you have guys who grow up watching the specialness of what LSU is, and then they're also talented players. So they're basically being marketed to, right? I mean, you got guys in Louisiana being marketed to play at LSU and dreaming of playing LSU since they're little kids, right? So they see that, and they're talented, right? Yeah. So I think the combination of all those things is what makes it really special. But I mean, every day you walk into work, man, there's nothing like it.
For sure. I want to go back to a time period at Louisiana Tech from 2014 to 2019. I think that was a special time at Tech. I don't know if you want to get a secret away, but man, how were y'all getting some of these players? Yeah. Bro, y'all had some pros back then. Jalen Ferguson, Xavier Woods, Vernon Butler, Meek Robinson, Trent Taylor.
Yeah, Trent Taylor was cool.
Like, bro, Carlos Henderson, Bub Means, Trey Harris. Y'all had some dudes in that time frame that I just could not understand. How were y'all getting them?
Jeez, G. That's
not. I don't mean it in that way, though, Joe. I don't mean it in that way. But how were y'all getting them? Yeah. And second of all, I was impressed with, because some of them was diamond in the roughs, right? That people couldn't identify how good they were, but I was impressed with as a staff, and I know you played a big part in that because you was one of the lead recruiters on that staff, to identify how it could translate not only to Louisiana Tech, but to go be a pro.
Yeah. So we had some excellent staff members, right? Let me say that. And I think Skip did a fantastic job of really embracing, when he got to Louisiana, embracing who Louisiana Tech was in the past and embracing that and being able to figure out, okay, here's what our school is. Here's what our organization is. Like we used to say, like, I mean, if you went to, some high school in Dallas, right, that had an indoor, you know what I mean, and had lockers. Like, you know, maybe Ruston wasn't the right fit for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, right? But I think we embraced who Louisiana Tech was, right? It was a small town school that was going to be a community around you. You know what? I think figuring that out was massive. I think we had some excellent football coaches. I mean, you could go on and on and on.
Blake was on that staff.
Blake Baker, right? Manny Diaz, the head coach at Duke. Blake Baker, right? Carl Scott's coaching DBs in the NFL.
Yep.
I mean, you
Jeff
can go
Burris.
right. Jeff Burris, Jabbar Jaluk, Tim Rattay,
Kurt Hester.
Strength
and conditioning coach.
We were fortunate, man. We had some really good coaches come through there, and a lot of them we hired. You know that we hired them from within basically this region, right? From different schools, right? A lot of guys that were coaching at Southeastern, right, or whatever it might be, and some good football coaches. And then I think, you know, it was a different time too. Like, there wasn't such a divide between Group of Five and, at that time, Power Five. Now it's Power Four, but there wasn't such a divide. Like, we would say, okay, let's identify a guy who says, I can understand what playing football at Louisiana Tech and being close to my family, as opposed to leaving and going to, Arizona State. And I say that one because they were recruiting out here a lot at the time, and trying to beat, you know, those teams, right, and identify those guys. And then there was the identification of maybe the diamonds in the rough, or maybe a guy had struggled with his grades for the first couple of years in high school, and he needed to get them back. So some other people had fallen off of him, but you knew that he was going to get back and improve, right, or whatever that might be. And I think we're, you know, able to put together a good group. And there's been good players going there for a while, you know. But I definitely think we did a good job. It was fun, and got the right guys there. I mean, there's some really good football players.
Yeah, bro.
Some really good football players.
Like, y'all had walk-ons like Boston Scott.
Yeah, he was good.
Made it to the league.
Yeah, that one was just that one. That's Boston just happened to be really, really good.
Come on,
Boston's
bro.
excellent.
5'6".
Yeah, he's excellent.
Come on,
he's such
man.
a good player too.
Come on,
such a good
Joe.
football player. But you know, and then I think again, right? It's about identifying, picking out your niche of the battles that you can win, and then go win them, right? But like Amik, you know, we took the entire staff. The entire staff sat in Amik's house. You know what I mean?
I remember that.
So that we could beat a, you know, what do you call them? You know, instead of flying somewhere, he can drive, right? And he can understand the importance of how important he was to us, right? And for a lot of those guys, it worked out. You know what I mean? They played really well with us, and then went on, and Amik's still playing in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Bro, y'all beat out LSU.
No, well, that's not completely true. LSU had offered him a gray shirt.
Late.
Right, and whatever. So, but again, we didn't try to go head-to-head with a LSU or a Ole Miss or a Texas A&M, you know. But we would, right, understanding who you are, selling that, hey, this is what we are. Do you fit here, right? And if you fit, here's why, and here's what we can do to help you, and look at some of the other guys. And then once it happened, we were able to start getting some more recruits. Now, you know, time has changed a little bit, right? It's a little bit different world. Well, a lot different world, right? You know what I mean? In college football than it was even 4 years ago, right? 5 years ago. But that was definitely it was a good time, and I thought we had a good plan. We executed the plan pretty good.
The 2016 season, I think it was, when Trent Taylor caught for 1,800, Carlos caught for 15?
15, yeah.
Carlos had 18 touchdowns. Trent had like 13.
Yeah, I think Carlos led the country in receiving touchdowns.
And bro, Trent led in receptions and receiving.
They both had over 100 receptions.
Yeah,
130 for Trent.
So yeah, what was going on that season?
Yeah,
it looked like y'all were doing routes on hill.
Yeah, we were really good. We had really good players.
Wiggins was a quarterback, or was it Driscoll?
Ryan Higgins. Yep.
Ryan Higgins. And I'm sorry.
Listen, Ryan Higgins is cold.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
He was a good player.
Yes.
And you know, he just got caught. We had a couple transfers, but he took advantage of when his time came. I mean, he had a special season. He was really good. We had a good offensive line. We had a couple good running backs, and then, you know, we had Carlos and Trent were really good, really good. So
was Trent a walk-on?
No, Trent had one offer though. You know,
wow,
he had one offer, and he's still playing in the NFL right now.
Still playing.
Yeah. So he came to Louisiana Tech, had one offer committed. He was already committed when we got there, and then came. He was a special player, really tough. Changed direction, unreal. Ability to play with a base, unreal. So he could just change direction at a high rate of speed, and he was excellent that way. And then Carlos was one of the more dynamic players I've ever seen. I mean, he was fantastic. So those two guys, and we were doing some good stuff offensively, and it kind of all clicked. I mean, I think we finished pretty high in the country that year. I
want to say y'all were like top 7.
Yeah,
top 5, something like that.
Somewhere in there. Yeah, we were good. We were a good team. We were a good team, really good team. It was a fun year. We played Texas Tech. Mahomes was there.
Yep.
That was a good game. I don't know. I think there was like one punt and one field goal, something like that. It was wild. But no, it was good. It was fun. Yeah, it was really fun. We were good. We could throw the ball.
For sure.
It's standing the test of time because Trent right now with that single season output in 2016 still top 10 in receptions and still top 10 in yards.
Really?
You can pat yourself on the back for that.
Well, I don't. Yeah, there was a lot of people that had involvement in that, but it was a fun season for sure.
Yeah, one to remember. Can we talk about the growth you've seen from Nussmeier through his time here? Being a backup quarterback now, he's the guy. He's already had 1 year under his belt in terms of experience. Like, what have you seen from him in terms of how he's rose up to that challenge?
Yeah. So Garrett's growth has been really fun to watch since I got here. Mm-hmm. When I walked in, I felt like I could really do a good job coaching Garrett after getting to know him for a few weeks. Just because he has such a passion, such a mentality to where he loves being here. He loves football. He's ate up with it. He's all in. He's loud. He's talkative. He's all that, right? And you could feel his personality.
Yep.
But with that, right, I think he was probably a little bit result oriented early, and I think really creating a little bit more of a process for him in everything that he does. And understanding how if I do ABC, it will produce the results that are necessary, and buying into that mindset, and I think he did, right? You could see that growth happening, and him becoming more self-aware of who he is, because I think that's growth as a player, and a lot as a quarterback, because quarterback's such a mental and emotional game.
For sure.
Is being really self-aware. When you become self-aware of who you are, you can really grow. And Coach Kelly talks about that a ton, is you have to be aware to enhance. That's kind of our quote. And so that means you got to be self-aware to really grow. And I felt like Garrett really became self-aware. And I think he grew as much and was as prepared as he could be to play. But then I think there are things that he learned from playing, right? Some experiences he learned from playing that no matter you feel like you're ready for the fire, right? Then all of a sudden, hey, there's some situations where you're like, ooh, okay. I thought I knew what this was like, but it's a little bit different. And I think, he was able to work through some of those situations, and I think bounce back and have, obviously he had those couple games there at the, kind of 3/4 of the way through. Then I know he'd like to have some of those back. But he learned from them, and he finished the season extremely strong. And I think being able to lean back on that, not just there's footwork things, there's process things, there's a lot of stuff, right, where he's able to watch himself. But I think also being able to work through the week in, week out of a season and seeing why, okay, here's where I maybe lost my fundamentals, here's where I lost my technique, here's how I need to think maybe a little bit differently of that, here's how I need to prepare just a touch differently for me, working into Saturday. And then, hey, they're going to change. And if they do something different that I didn't expect, here's what I'm going to lean back on, those different experiences that I've already been through. So I think all those, he's really taken into account. I've been really proud of him of taking all that information and not trying to let it overwhelm him or not trying to overdo it. Just day by day, right? Day by day, specific improvement. We use the word purposeful a ton around here. Is having a purpose on what he's doing every day and how that's going to make him better, and making those strides and carrying those into practice and then carrying those into games, right? Ultimately, it'll be about carrying them into games. I think that, and then I think you've seen him grow as a leader. I think he's really organic, and letting it really kind of come to him about who he is. But I think he's extremely vocal, but in the right way, and I think he has the pulse of the team and he has the respect of the team. because of that, because they've seen the way that he works. And, I think that's been huge for him. And, I think he talked about it last week. Another thing that he learned, his commitment to his body this offseason, and how much that's going to help him, I think has been huge, right? It's been huge. So all those things, it's been fun to watch him. It's fun to that's why you coach, right? You want to see guys, can you help guide them along the way to make them their absolute best? And you hope that you have a piece, ultimately it's him doing the work. I'm just trying to be a guide, right? But if I can be a guide and put a map out, road map out a little bit, and help him notice some of these things, that's what you want to do. But it's definitely it's fun to watch.
If we're going on recent history, LSU quarterbacks that come back in year 2, we're in for a treat this upcoming season. So can't wait to see it. A lot of times in football programs, the OC, the DC, the head coach, even the position coaches get a lot of the praise when a program is doing good. But the guys that's behind the scene, like a strength coach, and who I'm referring to is Kurt Hester.
Yeah.
I thought he did a phenomenal job at Louisiana Tech and at Tulane. I know he's at Houston now.
Yeah.
I've heard a ton of players give him his flowers for so many years about how he changed their mindset and just got them prepared physically and mentally to go attack fall camp and attack a season, and just so many different variables that go into that.
Really?
Talk about Kurt Hester and how he helped change that Louisiana Tech program and what he did at Tulane. I know he's battling lung cancer. I'm praying for him.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people's praying for him. I just saw him carrying a 40-pound.
Yeah, he's a whack. He's a whack job.
He's battling. He's battling, bro. And I know a lot of people are praying for him. But I want to give Kurt Hester his flowers. But talk about how he impacted the Louisiana Tech program and just everywhere he's been.
Yeah, no. Strength coaches really become a lot of times the they're probably next to the head coach. A lot of times they have a huge impact on the pulse of the program, right? And the heartbeat of the program. And just because they're with the entire team, right? I'm with the offense, with the quarterbacks. Like that's going to be my most influence, right? But they get to influence the entire team, and a lot of the values that you want to instill in a football team that you want to show up on Saturdays come through challenge and hard work and accountability. Well, a lot of that can be built in the weight room while you're doing things to build the body, right? And so that's where I think they end up having so much of an impact, and that's where Kurt is so special, because he does an unbelievable job in terms of the physical, building the physical athlete for football. He thinks outside the box. He always tries to challenge the norms, but yet he also still is about what football's about, and I think he's able to have that combination. But then as well, I think he does a fabulous job of mentoring the players that he's around and getting them to believe in the program and believe in themselves, and what they can be, right? And give them an image of who they can be, and help inspire them to get there, right? And but he does it through honesty. I mean, he does it through. I mean, he's hardcore now.
Oh,
right?
I know it.
He's hardcore now. He doesn't mince words, right? But they love it, right? Because they're craving that honesty, right? That truth. And I think that's what he does so well. And then he's a complete nut job. His personality's out there, and he's himself all the time. Oh, I mean, he's insane, right?
Sure.
And I love it, right? He was there. I think he and I were the only ones who were there the whole 9 years with Skip. So we had a blast, and I know he and Baker are really close. Their families are really close, and Kurt's just a special human. You get an opportunity through your life. You meet some special people and unique people. He is unique. He is himself all the time, and I think he inspires. And has made an impact on a lot of people in his life. And he certainly made a huge impact on our staff and our program and our players, when I was with him. And I know from everything that I know, and talking to Slade Nagel and some of the different people that were at Tulane, and watching from the outside, he had a huge impact there. And I know he's made a huge impact, I'm sure, at Houston. And no, he's just we're all praying for him. We're all behind him. It's but again, if it's something that can be conquered, he can do it.
For sure. And I'm glad to see, even before he started battling cancer, a lot of his former players was giving him his flowers. You know, we always talk about this, right? People wait till they get sick.
No doubt.
Or when somebody dies, they won't give them their flowers.
Right.
Curry Hester been getting his flowers. Like I know a ton, like I just said before we started talking about this, a ton of players. Man, Curry Hester.
Yeah.
Like he changed my mindset. He changed my mental makeup. And like I said, I'm praying for him.
Well, and I think you're right, though. It's like a lot of times we wait until something bad happens to tell people how we feel, because we get so caught up in our daily lives of
For sure.
what we think is right or wrong, and what's going on and all that. And sometimes we just need to step back and be willing to say, hey, I appreciate what you've done for me, even though I'm sure they don't like everything that Kurt did for them. But
Right.
but at the same point in time,
We human.
that's right, right? And I think that's a great example, and I think that's something we need to do a better job of in our society. Is
No doubt.
is understanding, hey, G, maybe everything that you've done for me, our relationship, it's not perfect, but I appreciate what you've done for me, right? You know what I mean? And being okay with both of those,
Yep.
right? Being okay with both of those, and being able to tell somebody how much you appreciate them in those moments, and not getting stuck in your own little world, in your own little bubble.
Yep.
Instead of looking inward all the time, looking outward a little bit.
Yep.
We'd be better off, no doubt.
I agree.
Yep. Dialing it back to when we were talking about preparing for games and just how the switch goes, being a coordinator, you focused on communication, right? Last year they debuted the headset, the ability to be able to talk to the quarterback. How big was that, and did that change things, in a positive way for you, or did sometimes you feel like maybe you put too much in their head, or like how do you balance that communication when you get that much time?
So I wanted to be extremely careful of not putting too much in Garrett's head, especially as a first-year player, and not having him. You can't overanalyze a quarterback. You're making split-second decisions, so let him play the play. You know what I mean? But I was able to take some things off of him pre-snap, in terms of taking some of the checks off. You know what I mean? And things like that when you can. So being able to use it that way, and being able to use it to go at different tempos and be in the huddle and do different things that way, I think, what we're able to use the huddle the way we did against Oklahoma, I think was a big deal, So I think using it to your advantage, I thought it was awesome. Yeah, I thought it was awesome. It took away one little step, and it can take some thought off the quarterback. But you're right. You got to be very careful. You don't do too much. And I think that's the biggest thing, because offense is not, it's about scheme, but it's also about operation, right? And how you operate, right? I mean, purest example is you go back to when, whoever you want to say started it, but Gus Malzahn or whoever started the tempo offense, and going as fast as they could go. Well, that was attacking people with operation, Bryles, right? All that. They were attacking defense with operation. They weren't attacking them with the plays they were running. It was just how, well, now, defenses have caught up. It's not just about how fast you can go, but there's a lot of different ways to operate, and making it so your players understand what they're being asked to do and doing it. And then there's scheme, right? So there's two different things that are going on all at once, offensively. And we try to vary up, our operation and make sure that it's smooth, and make sure that we prepare them, right, to handle that. And I think the quarterbacks that's one thing I think quarterbacks have done a really good job of here the last couple of years, is handling the operation of the offense.
I want to get you to touch on this particular subject when you're talking about evaluating a quarterback. I'm sure you've got a ton of text messages and phone calls about, hey, I got this quarterback. He's pretty good. You need to check him out. I think he can play there, and things of that nature. And as you know, quarterback is probably one of the hardest positions to evaluate, in my opinion. I think it's the hardest position on the field from a mental standpoint, as much as the physical. As an OC and a quarterback guy, kind of give your take on what do you look for in a quarterback when you're evaluating them to be able to say, this is a guy that I want in my room. This is a guy that could play here.
Yeah, so I think, one, it's the hardest position of all sports.
Yeah.
Right? And, I think, and I think you've seen it here. Right? I think when you start trying to say, hey, it's going to be a cookie cutter, like, hey, everybody needs to be like this, you really limit yourself, because I think there's really good quarterbacks. I think we've had two. Jayden was unbelievable, and Garrett had a really great year last year, you know what I mean, and is a great quarterback, and they're completely different players.
For sure.
Right? So I think being able to say, okay, this is a great quarterback because he's an elite decision maker. He has the ability to throw the ball where he wants to put it, or he has the ability to beat a defense in different ways, right? Whatever that way. How is he going to beat a defense? And what's he going to allow you to do schematically to beat that defense, right? And but I think being able to anticipate is massive. Ultimately, to win in the SEC, you got to win on third down. If you can't win on third down as a quarterback, it gets really hard, right? And intelligence, right? Like, that takes intelligence. That takes the ability to process information quickly. To anticipate, because windows open and close so quickly, so being able to have that mental understanding, but then also physically be able to execute it, right? I think the physical piece is a little bit easier to evaluate, right? But the
mental makeup,
the mental makeup, I would say mental and emotional, right? Because the mental piece would be to understand in the film room, being able to just take in that much information. Two, then being able to process information quickly in that moment, right? And then emotionally be able to handle the praise and, hey, you're an idiot, right? You stink, right?
Yeah.
You got to be able to do both, right? And you got to have earmuffs on for all of it, because if you're listening to the praise, you got to listen to the hate, you know what I mean? And so I think all of those things come into account. But ultimately, they have to be able to make decisions, and they have to be able to make decisions quickly and process information quickly, and then they have to be able to, how are they going to beat the defense, right? Can they deliver the ball accurately when they need to, right? And then what can they do with their feet when things break down, right? And the combination of those two.
Gotcha.
What do you think made Jayden Daniels so special? And then, in turn, was there a moment where it all just clicked, like, oh, this guy's different?
Yeah, I think it clicked in the, I think everybody could see that he was a different, even the Florida game his first year, you know what I mean? He made some special plays.
Yep.
But really, to me, where everything really clicked and, like, took off was the Mississippi State game. That's the game to me that all really took off. But Jayden's he has elite recall of information. Like, people talk about his athleticism and his throwing and running and all this other stuff. He has elite recall. Like, he's able to pull back up. I always call it your brain's like a file folder, right? You got to pull out the right file at the right time, and he's able to study and then recall the correct information at that time to where his study had helped him, right? And prepared him for that moment, right? And, hey, this defense is getting ready to do this, so now I know what that picture looks like. I remember that picture, and now I'm going to do, whatever to execute, right, what they're showing me. So that's he was able to do, and then physically able to get it done. And I think really it all kind of came together, because I thought he got better technically. I thought his understanding of our offense grew. The other thing, he actually got an offseason in an offense, right? Which is a major deal.
For sure.
But then he took advantage too.
Because he got here late the first year.
Yeah, he got here like basically February, March, So, but doing that, getting better technically, getting stronger, right? Changing his body. And then his understanding of the offense, but then I think too, then the last piece was his trust, right? Like, and okay, I feel I'm getting better. I know I'm prepared. I know I'm doing this. Now, cut it loose and let it go. Once he started, really started just letting it rip and really had a full understanding of the offense, I think all of a sudden it was just he took off and there was no turning back. And then, then his his physical skills to go along with basically his ability to process everything that's happening in front of him at an elite rate, and then trusting, right, and trusting his decisions. Mm-hmm. Man, it was a impressive thing to watch.
It was one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was so much coming together, and Jayden, he's a fantastic guy. Like, he has a great heart. He has a great heart. He wants to help people around him. That's why his teammates love him, right? You hear the guys in Washington, what they talk, what they say about him. So he's a special person, and I think that shows. And he's hardworking, and I think he really figured out his process. His process of what I need to do, what am I going to do to prepare myself, and I think that's carried over. That's why he's had such a that's part of the reason of his smooth transition.
For sure. I kind of want to touch on Kyron Lacey. You were one of the people on the staff that have been knowing Kyron for a long time. Mm-hmm. You was one of the ones that identified Kyron early on, and when he was in high school. Just talk about just reflecting back on him when you first started recruiting him when you was at Louisiana Tech in high school and throughout college, and his time here at LSU and the impact he made on the program and just y'all relationship through the years.
Well, I think Kyron, as soon as you met Kyron, you knew he was full of life, right? Yeah. His personality was just, he was emotional, right?
For sure.
So the positives of that were he would show you, he would tell you, boom, and when he walked in a room, you knew it, right?
Yeah.
He was, and I think you always knew that. And I felt like he matured so much in the time that I knew him, from when I knew him when he was 14, 15 years old,
yep,
to really being able to not let things affect him as much, right? Mm-hmm. Because usually if we're a passionate individual, we're passionate on both sides, right? And that's what I was proud of him for. I thought just his growth and maturity that way, but he always, you could see he's such a giving, caring person, mm-hmm, and I think that carried over to, he always wanted to help recruit. He always wanted to help his other teammates. He always wanted to be involved. He always wanted to help in community service events.
Yep.
Because he wanted to give his heart to others, right? And I think that's the impact, when you watch, is that, man, let your personality show. Let people know that you care about them. Be involved. And to me, that's the impact he had on. That's the impact he had on me, and that's the impact he had on other people. There's so many different experiences, right, with Kyron, and different opportunities to have real conversations. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think that's the piece he's going to leave with others, that they'll carry on. That they'll carry on his legacy is live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Tell other people you care. Show them your heart. Be there for them, because relationships and the relationships we have with other people in our lives is what life's important. Is what matters, right?
Yeah.
The impact that we're going to have on others. That's what's going to carry on, and I think he taught us that.
The sound bite of the Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
They're in the huddle, and he's saying, "Give me the matchup
on 29
with 29."
Yeah.
So you calling the play? Take me through that sequence.
So, and this was Tez. Tez say, because Kyron was over there talking, and he said, I want to go at 29. I want to go at 29, whatever. So Tez said, "Hey, let's get a matchup on 29." We were going to call that. That play was coming.
Right.
Like, I wanted to call that play a little earlier in the fourth, and the situation never dictated it. A little double move with a backside seam, and so we put the ball in the middle of the field and kind of sugar hodled to see where 29 was going to be.
That's smart.
That was Tez's idea. And that was, hey, let's just get on 29. I said, all right, we just put the ball in the middle. Y'all kind of hang out for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we're going to go this way.
Yeah.
And then Nuss made a great throw. It was funny because Coach Kelly had been all about back shoulder throw on the fade with Nuss and Kyron. So when Nuss threw the back shoulder on the double move to end it like that on 29, Kyron called for it. Tez said it was in Tiger Stadium like that.
That
was fun to end it.
Yeah. What I know you was cutting up in the box.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. It was nuts. We had a good time. Up there. And it was cool because when I came out, my little girl was right there.
For real?
My oldest little girl. Yep, and my wife. So I hugged her. I got a cool picture of me and her hugging right after that upstairs. So it was fun. Yeah, it was a great night.
I remember I saw you coming out the locker room. I started pointing at you. I was like,
it was a great night. It was fun. It was cool. It was a great defense. Played unbelievable to keep us in it. And then I thought Garrett had guys played really hard in the fourth.
The throw he made to Aaron.
Yeah, it was good.
That was going to overtime, right?
That was
fourth down.
Yeah, it was fourth down.
That was a throw.
It was a good throw.
That was a throw.
Yeah, he released that one early.
Ooh,
yeah, that was a good throw.
God.
Yeah, that was a good throw. It was a guys made plays, man. Made plays. Mason made a play on 3rd and 10 or whatever. I mean, their guys made plays.
Yeah,
it was fun
for sure.
I'm just thinking, you were talking about how calculated that was. Like, we're going to sit there, put the ball over the middle, see where they are. How, when you're looking at all the weapons you got for this season, like, I know you're sitting back licking your chops, but how do you calculate who's going to be on the field with who, what schemes? Like, how do you take all these weapons and turn it into something?
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, we're going to play with 3 footballs.
All right, I'm with it.
A lot of that, we've been obviously. I thought we did a lot of different things this spring to be able to prepare and use different guys in different ways and give defense different looks, and continue to develop some of those this summer. And then a lot of that will be decided in August. And there's going to be a lot of great competition, man. We got some excellent players.
For sure.
Try to put them in a position to be successful. I think that's the thing. Creating matchups, creating opportunities where they can go and show their talents, right? And that'll be the whole key. And being able to do that and in the run game and in the pass game, both. And I think that's been the whole focus. Our offensive staff's awesome. 4 of us have been here the whole time with Coach, and then adding Alex in, and then all the different guys we have in that room. You know the position coaches' names, but all the other guys that we have in there, we got some really smart people and fun to work with. And we got a fun group on offense right now, so it's going to be good. And I think a lot of August will dictate that.
Fall camp, that's where we go down it.
From competition standpoint, but we'll just try to put the guys in position to be successful. That'll be the key.
Yeah. I think it's so ironic too, man, that when you think back on the Louisiana Tech days, you the offensive coordinator at LSU, Blake Baker's the defensive coordinator at LSU. Like, do y'all ever laugh about that sometimes?
Yeah, no, I mean, so Blake,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Blake's one of my best friends, so it's to be able to coach with him and for us to both be coordinators at LSU, it makes it that much more of a special experience. It's unbelievable, right? But to do it with him, a guy who I've been friends with a long time and very close with, I think there's a lot of trust, a lot of competitiveness, but a lot of trust.
I was just about to ask you that practice. I know y'all be
he's
some competition going on.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen plenty of videos. He's a clown, but that's all right. But we have a lot of fun together. We have a lot of fun, and that carries over to the players. I think they can feel. You want your staff to be connected, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we have a really connected staff. Yeah, obviously Blake and I's relationship, but I think much more than that throughout the staff. Coach Kelly's done a really good job of building a staff here that has a lot of connection, and it makes it fun to be in work, and I think that filters down over to the players.
For sure. Last thing I want to ask you before we get into Joe's favorites.
Come on.
I always like to ask college coaches this because I have a ton of younger kids that's coming up that inspired to be a college coach, inspired just to be in college sports in general, but they don't understand the time that goes into it, and especially when you start having a family. How do you go about giving your best at what you do, especially at a prominent university like LSU, but having that balance with your wife and your kids?
Yeah. Coach Kelly really has a great schedule for us. I know there's some head coaches that make it hard, but I do think, and I think probably less and less in today's football, But it is. It's a lot of work, and you go into it, and you understand that. I think you got to be really organized and set up a schedule, and then you got to do your best to be at both things and be really present when you're there. I think that's probably the hardest part. The schedule you can manage, you can do all that, but when you're with your family is being present, because you got your phone on you, and recruiting, you can recruit at any point in time, at any time of day, at any time of night, all that. So being able to be present, and that's what I try to challenge myself on. I don't do a good enough job, but of being present, right, when I'm with my family, because it's ultimately that's going to be, that's my most important legacy, is what I do for, to help to be the best husband I can be and be the best father that I can be to our two girls. So that's the important piece, and trying to make sure that when we are around, that I can be there for them, and that they have the best dad, right, that they can have, and that's what I want.
For sure. Here we go, man. Getting into Joe's favorite before we get ready to close the podcast down.
Rapid fire.
Here we go. Favorite football player all time.
Ooh.
No matter what level.
Jerry Rice.
All right.
Good one. I like that one. Favorite coach all time that made the most impact on you.
Man, I would say they're tied, and it'd be Skip Holtz and Todd Fitch, and because they both coached me and molded me early in my career.
Favorite place to visit?
Ooh, St. John, Virgin Islands.
I've never been there.
It's fantastic.
Gotta put it on my bucket list.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Favorite artist to listen to when you driving to work or driving home or whatever?
So like it's not just like one, it's like whatever, a lot of different stuff. Like I'm not like that's so I'm a big Jimmy Buffett guy, but like I don't listen to that like in the car. It's more like at the pool or at the beach.
Yeah.
Shoot, I mean, I've gone from some, some of the rap today is like whatever, but like
whatever.
It's
what are they talking about?
What the hell?
Is every Young Boy song the same? It sounds the same pretty much. Yeah.
It does.
Right, but like
it does.
Probably more stuff from my time. Like I'll have a mix. Like so like my mix that I listen to every Saturday has some Biggie, some Dr. Dre, some
West Coast,
an Eminem, a couple Eminem songs, and then it has like a couple Dave Matthews songs.
Okay.
A Blues Traveler Hook, great song, awesome song. Has Government Mule, which is a band that a lot of people probably wouldn't know. It's Warren Haynes, who played with the Allman Brothers for a long time, started his own deal. Has a lot of like heavy guitar in it, like a lot of so a lot of jam band. I kind of bounce around.
You got it. Yeah. You're versatile.
I'm good. Like whatever. As long as it's good. Some stuff. Move on. But I mean, right now probably Chris Stapleton's probably an easy answer. I would say. Yeah.
Gotcha. Favorite movie of all time?
Ooh man, I got a lot of this, but Godfather Part 1.
Oh yeah, good one.
Okay. Love Tombstone. Excellent movie.
I've never seen Tombstone.
Oh man, it's great. The first Gladiator. The first Gladiator. Yeah. The second one, they shouldn't even have made it.
I played that for my middle school team one day.
It's unbelievable. That's right. It's great.
Maybe you want to run through a wall right now.
Man, there's a bunch. I mean, shoot, I could go on. I'm a movie guy. Like,
me too.
I love movies. So, a bunch of those. Charlie Wilson's War, I'm big on. It's a, Tom Hanks, politics. He was the Texas representative giving money to the Afghans to fight the Russians, back in the day. So it's whatever. I bounce around, but
I got you.
I got some good ones. I mean, I would say probably starts with Godfather 1.
Gotcha. Toughest player you ever had to coach against? So what I mean by that is you game planning. How in the hell we gonna block this guy? Or if he's at safety, we gotta find out where he's at on the field. Like,
well, I wasn't coordinator at the time, but I'd say Dallas Turner was disruptive. Now, The
Miami?
DN from Alabama.
Alabama, right.
He was disruptive. He was a good rusher. I mean, he's a good rusher. You know, when we were at Louisiana Tech, Mississippi State, we played Mississippi State. They had, I think it's Jeffrey Simmons, the three technique.
D-tackle, played for the Titans.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was good.
Okay.
Really good. You know, D-linemen are always the ones because, you know, they just can impact the play every play, right? Yeah, I mean, but I mean, in this league, shoot, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Every week, you know, every week they usually have one or two.
Yeah.
I mean, when Alabama had Dallas Turner and Will Anderson,
That's not fair.
that year that we beat them here, they were good. Now they were good. So
I think Dallas Turner won, knocked Jayden out at Alabama.
he's the one that it wasn't targeting. I don't think, but that's what they say anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Supposed
Gotcha.
allegedly.
My dude, Joe Sloan, bro. Been trying to get you on for a while. Well, you came on the show when you was
I
at
came
Tech.
on. That's right.
Yeah, it
This
was
is my
remote,
second
but
time, man.
Yeah, second time. It was
Second
remote,
time.
but you know, it's always better in person.
That's right.
Nah, but I don't take these things for granted, Joe. I know how busy your schedule is, man, especially with your family and things of that nature. I'm happy for you and where you at in your journey. Like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to fellowship with us, man, and so we could talk about your path and give the viewers an insight on who you are, not just as a football player, but as a person. I'm rooting for you, man, and I wish the best for you and your family and the team this season, bro.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you for having me on and for just having the opportunity to sit down and talk a little bit about some of those things, man. Bring back some old memories.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Trip down memory lane.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited. We can't wait. Excited for the guys. They've been working hard. They've been getting after it with Coach Flint. So they're ready. They're going to be ready to go. It's going to be fun. I mean, we got a good group here. Good group of players. Good group of coaches. It's getting close, man.
I can't wait, man. Labor Day weekend.
That's it, baby.
Yeah.
I can already feel it. I can already feel it.
Yeah. This your guy, Jeremiah Gray, a.k.a. G Sportz.
I got Jacob Verdin right here signing out.
And we signing out, man, with The Path with Joe Sloan.
It is.
We out.